Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. As you can see from the title of this video, you're probably thinking, oh, Mr. Bowling, this is mere clickbait. What are you talking about here? But it's not merely clickbait. The title is not merely clickbait. This is something that I see that it's a possibility, and I want to elaborate on this. I'm not going to read from any articles in this particular video. This is coming from my own heart, from my observations, and from what I feel could possibly happen if black people, and when I say black people, I mean particularly those with a ghetto mindset, a thug mindset, a hood mindset, they need to really be paying attention, but also sensible black people need to pay attention. This is what I mean. I have been noticing something ever since Trump has been in office, and it hasn't been long. He hasn't been in office long, but what, a couple of months, 2 or 3 months. I've been noticing something among white people, Indians, Chinese, within my own community. Now, I'm speaking subjectively for my own community, okay? And sensible, what I would like to call sensible black people. I've noticed that they are beginning to, at least from the look on their face, say in an indirect way, I am sick and tired of these knucklehead black people. I could see it on their face. I could feel it from them. When I stay in an apartment complex where I'd say 90% of the residents are Indonesian. And when I get on the elevator with a group of them, I can see the expression on some of their faces like, oh God, you know. And somebody might interpret that one way or another, but it doesn't matter. The expression on some of their faces, which doesn't necessarily, it bothers me, but it doesn't bother me. It bothers me because I'm not like that, okay? I'm not a knucklehead. I'm not a hood rat. I have direction in life. I have purpose in life. But I can understand why they look at me like this, because of the perceptions that they're seeing and the things that they're observing in the mainstream media, on the streets. When they walk the streets, they see this type of nonsense from a lot of ghetto-minded black people. And I don't know how else to categorize it. It is what it is. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't what y'all want me to say. Well, those marginalized groups, we're going to get to the marginalization in a minute, because they will be that in a minute. But anyway, I'm jumping the gun. Let me get back to the premise of this. I'm noticing that among them. I'm noticing it among white people when I'm in a grocery store, when I'm walking the streets on my way to work, when I'm waiting on a bus. A look of absolute disgust and disapproval is on their face. Now, someone may argue, well, this has been going on for quite some time. Yes, it has been going on for quite some time, but we got to take in consideration when the liberal establishment was in place, even though it's still in place right now, we had people like Biden and Obama. All criticism of negative black behavior was off limits. Didn't matter what black people did. If anyone that was not black criticized them, you was deemed a racist. And if you were black and you criticized them, you was deemed a sellout. Okay? Didn't matter. You could be doing some of the most atrocious, nastiest, dumbest stuff that could be ever created in God's creation. And if anyone that was not black or black, i.e. sellout, criticized this negative black behavior, you was considered a racist, or you was considered a sellout if you was black. But let's move forward, and now that we are under the Trump administration, I am noticing that the expression on these groups' faces, of people that I've seen on their faces and their body language, and even sometimes their words, I'm noticing this in some on some TikTok videos, which usually, of course, only one's about a minute, sometimes 3 minutes, depending on which one it is, that they're voicing their opinions about a lot of negative things that blacks, particularly in the hood, are doing, and how this has been marketed as the accepted way that black people generally are, which it is not. They're starting to express their disapproval of this because under the Trump administration and certain things that are being promoted under the Trump administration in terms of okay, we want to protect people's rights and so forth. We're getting rid of DEI, which is so-called diversity, equity, inclusion, and we're getting rid of that. Or he signed I think, an executive order to get rid of that kind of stuff. A lot of black people are misperceiving what that's all about. They fail to realize that DEI is not for black people. It is for the LGBTQ, and some sources say white women. I don't know about all of that, but I know it's definitely for LGBTQ. It's definitely for them. Okay, that's what that's all about. Because according to one source, that the DEI does not benefit black people in general. Now, unless you LGBTQ or unqualified, then maybe it does. For the position, then maybe it does. Anyway, in lieu of that, I'm noticing on TikTok videos and different areas that white people are starting to express their disapproval now. They feel freer, it seems to me, of expressing their disapproval of a lot of ghetto behavior among black people. Here's what I'm thinking is it could possibly happen. Black liberals had yipped and yacked, pooted, snotted, farted, boo-booed, vomited, whatever you wanted to call it. Okay. Oh my God, Trump gonna put it back. Democrats have been hooping and hollering about this stuff for long. So, the Republicans gonna put you all back in chains. Biden got up, what was it, in a church literally years ago when he was running against Mitt Romney, whom I'm not crazy about, got up in a church, I believe a church pulpit, and said he gonna put y'all back in chains, It's all the Republicans, right? All the Republicans. When in reality, if you go back to history, it was the Democratic Party that was the one that supported slaves. But that's another story, and I digress. Most people should know that by now. But anyway, black people vote for Democrats anyway. It don't make no difference. Disproportionately, they vote for them. But anyway. Yeah. So, this situation now is getting to the point where a lot of whites and other groups are starting to express their disapproval. And the fear from black liberals, right? Black liberals, the idea that Republicans and others are going to put us back in chains might just happen. Now, you may be asking, what do you mean, Mr. Bowling? Talking about slavery like it was back then? No, that's not what I mean. I don't mean click, click, click. I don't mean, come here, Toby boy. Come here, boy. Come here, gal. I don't mean where they're going to be calling black people girls and boys, black men and boys and black women girls anymore. Come here, boy. Come here, girl. Come here, gal. I don't think that's good. That's not what I'm talking about. If black people, particularly, let's be specific about this, black ghetto-minded people, do not change their negative pathological behavior, okay? People in this new era, whites, Chinese, Indonesians, and sensible blacks, okay, are going to say, you know what? We're going to separate the thuggeries and put them in their own category. Who's to say, I mean, it's kind of like that now, but who's to say that it's not going to get so bad to where people, the groups I just mentioned to you, or the subgroups that I just mentioned to you, are not going to cry out to the government, local, state, and federal, and say we need to do something about these group of people. We need to create laws that will sanction and separate them out of our society, out of our community. Now, somebody may be saying, well, they did that already with the Jim Crow laws. You want it to happen again? It's going to happen again, and everybody mostly is going to be on board with it. Sensible black people are going to be on board with it. White people are going to be on board with it. Asians are going to be on board with it. Everyone that has goals, has dreams, has vision, and has good behavior is going to be on board with it. This thuggery lifestyle is going to become, it is a subculture, but it is going to become a subculture that is going to be legally isolated from everyone else. It's going to be a escape from New York all over again. Or it won't be an escape from New York. There ain't going to be no escaping. You're just going to be sanctioned off from everyone else. You're going to be divided from everyone else. You're going to be separated from everyone else, and it's going to be legalized. People fear Jim Crow laws again. It's going to happen again if you don't start acting right. I'm not talking about anyone. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And I've noticed, I can feel it. Now, listen, I'm talking about possibilities, okay? I'm talking about possibilities. Would something like that happen? More than likely not. But who's to say that it won't happen? Who's to say something like that would never happen? If blacks in the ghetto do not start changing their negative behavior and stop saying that the negative behavior is black culture, which it is not. It is a part of your subculture, but it is not the general consensus of black culture. It is not. Stop it. If these group of people don't straighten up and start improving, who's to say that that's not going to happen? Because on a psychological level, they already have been isolated. The other day, I was at Walmart. I had my cart. I'm headed up to the line. It was pretty crowded today. And I'm headed up to the line, right? And all of a sudden, from my right-hand side, all I hear is, F you. You can't mess with me. I mean, at the top of her lungs. I'm a grown effing woman. And I said to myself, here we go. Here we go. Because the Walmart where I shop at, unfortunately, is what people have called the ghetto Walmart. When you get ghetto-minded people in a place like that, that's usually what's going to happen. Look, I know people don't like it, but it's the truth, and you know it's the truth. Ain't no need in talking about, oh, man, you putting black people down. I don't want to hear all that nonsense. You know it's true. I know it's true, and everybody with brain know it's true. So I don't want to hear that. So, but I said, what is this coming around? Look. And there's some young black girl, okay, young person, screaming and hollering at what appeared to be one of the workers at the register. Now, I don't know what gave rise to the situation, but a couple of sheriff's deputies came and approached her, and one was about to put her out. She said, no, I ain't doing that, because she can't talk about it. I ain't doing it. And you see, and this is what ends up getting people like that slapped upside their head, handcuffs on and then slammed on the ground because of their attitude. Attitude. It's got to change. It's got to change. This group is so emotional. They don't think. Sooner or later, and eventually they calmed it down or whatever. But I've noticed, let me go back a little bit. I noticed when this was going on, blacks and whites were just looking straight forward. And it was as if they had this mindset, look, I just want to get out of here. And some of the black people who were sensible black people had this aura on themselves, or this expression on their face like, hey, I'm not a part of that bull crap. I don't associate with it. That's the impression that they had the expression they had on their face. I could tell. Like I said, I'm noticing something. And if this kind of behavior does, and like I said earlier, the isolation has already begun. It's already there. Sooner or later, if these ghetto-minded people don't straighten up, there's going to be a new Jim Crow law created for them. You guys are separated. You ain't a part of our group no more. And it's going to be legalized, and they're going to say, okay, hey, yeah, this is in the law. Y'all don't want to do anything with your life. You don't want to work. You mooching off of taxpayers when you know you can work. They're going to start reasoning and saying to themselves, what good are you to society? Why would we keep you around? Let's just separate them. Separate them. Among other things that could possibly happen. I'm just saying. I'm thinking off the top of my head here. But these group of black people got to change, man. They got to change. They got to change. And I don't know if they will ever change. I don't know if the people in the ghetto will ever change. I don't know if ghetto-minded people will ever change. I don't know. I pray that they do, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. And I hate to be pessimistic and cynical, but I don't see it happening. As long as we have Democrats and liberals boo-hooing and crying and telling them, look, it don't matter how you act. That's part of your culture, which is pissed. Oh, my God, it ticks me off more than anything. Because how you going to tell me about my culture? You in your high ivory tower gated community, and you going to tell me about my culture? And that this is a part of my culture? Man, go to Hell. I cannot stand these kind of politicians. But let me calm down. My friend, you watching this, please forgive me. I don't like you people. They're poison, and my friend, you watching, they're poison because they know what they're doing. They're doing it to keep the division going, and they're doing it to keep a certain segment of people voting for them, to keep them, their nasty, demonic selves in power. They know it. That's why I don't like them. That's why I detest them. You consciously do what is evil. You consciously deceive the people. You consciously lie to the people. You consciously deceive and manipulate. What love do I need for what love can I have for you? Anyway, that's what's going to end up happening. If the black liberals and white liberals keep screaming and hollering that this is a part of their culture and you shouldn't criticize them for all this negativity coming from their culture because it's part of their culture. If you do so, you're racist or you're a sellout. I don't see them straightening up. But here's what's going to probably happen. You're going to get legally sanctioned off. And if you think you don't have nothing now, you definitely ain't going to have nothing then. So what Biden said, he going to put y'all back in slavery. Guess what? That's what's going to end up happening, but it's going to be a different kind of slavery. I'm just saying. But that's just my point. I wanted to bring that out, and I wanted to mention that because that was weighing heavy on me. I'm noticing that with a lot of people. I'm noticing it with whites. I'm noticing it with Indonesians. I'm noticing that with Chinese people. I'm noticing it the way they approach black, and it's really disconcerting to me. But not disconcerting in a bad way, I guess, you know. But let me say this, and I'm going to summarize this, too. Let me summarize this, rather. I hope that if something like this happens, that the establishment don't sanction off the sensible black people. That's what I hope. That they don't sanction off the sensible black people. Because unfortunately, the sensible black people who have goals and dreams and are trying to do something with their life, they have morals and values and sense, they tend to be ostracized and separated from other people, you know, and treated a certain way. And people, you know, get on the elevator, and if it's white people, they fearful of you. And it's very discomforting for me personally. But I can understand why they do it. I can understand it. I do. But I'm concerned that, the sensible black people are going to be grouped up with the knuckleheads when and if this type of legalized separation takes place again in the future. I'm just saying. But anyway, what do you guys think about what I said? Do you think something like this could possibly happen? Yeah, you know? You think there will be a creation of a new Jim Crow law based on what I just mentioned? It won't be a Jim Crow law based on, hey, let's separate black people from white people because black people are inferior. No, it won't be any of that. But let's separate the thug black people, the ghetto black people, from all other sensible groups because they aren't worth us trying to help out with. They're already separated psychologically. Let's separate them physically with legal means. Just saying, do you think it's possible? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all and see you again.